Hello and welcome to another episode in Builders of Bhutan, where I talk to people who have helped the monarchs build the Bhutan of today, have helped the monarchs over the last 4 or 5 decades to build our country. And today I'm talking to a very distinguished lady, rather difficult to introduce. She came from a little village in Wales with an unpronounceable name, and she has made enormous contributions to the development of education in Bhutan from the late 60s through to today. So I'm very privileged to introduce to you Madam Carolyn Tshering, and Carolyn will want me to emphasize that it is Carolyn and not Caroline. So, Carolyn Tshering, you came here many years ago. You've done an enormous amount for the education of hundreds of young Bhutanese, as well as having led a very interesting life. So, in the manner of the old BBC programme, This Is Your Life, will you tell us your story? Where did you begin?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. You, Michael, all your previous guests have been illustrious ambassadors, ministers, and so on, and I'm just a teacher. So thank you. I was just telling you previously that people come up to me sometimes and say, how long have you been in Bhutan? And I normally say, well, I've been here probably longer than before your mother was born.
Right.
But as I say, I can't say that to you. I came in 66.
Right.
I married an army officer. I had 3 daughters. I was given 6.
Can I correct you, Carolyn, for a moment? You have 3 daughters.
I have 3 daughters, very true. I was honoured with citizenship in 1967, which I think was probably the first European ever to have Bhutanese citizenship. And of course, I was honoured from the 3rd king, Jigme Dorji Wangsuk. I taught in Thimphu Public School, which is now called Thimphu. And then I founded Lungtenzampa School. And then I went and joined my ex-husband in Kuwait because he was commanded to open the first Bhutanese consulate there. And then when I returned from Kuwait, I founded Druk School, and then I founded Thimphu Primary School, and finally Sausang School, where I am now.
And where we're sitting.
Where we're sitting in my office, yes. So basically that's a very broad outline of my life.
But now, Carolyn, I'm going to get you to go into a bit more detail. Can you tell us about your childhood in Wales?
Well, I'm a Second World War baby. And as soon as war was about to break out, my father joined up. And my father joined the Warwickshire Regiment, which was a cavalry regiment. But I was born, I think, 3 months after he left to go abroad. So he was posted in the Middle East throughout the war, under General Wainwright. So yes, he had many stories about being in the desert. Little did I know that I would also be going into the desert later in my life. So my poor mother was left in Birmingham with 3 children, all under the age of 4.
Right.
And I remember the sirens so well, which I'm sure you do.
I do indeed,
yes. Horrid noise.
Yes.
My mother could only pick up my sister Rowena and my brother Robin. She couldn't manage me, the baby. So I was left in a pram underneath an iron table.
Right.
And my mother would rush out and go to the nearest air raid shelter in the neighbourhood, where all the other neighbours would go underground. And she'd have the 2 children, and I'd be left in the house under this iron table. Once the bombs had stopped dropping and, you know, the siren went off, that was all clear, then my mother would go back into the house, like everybody else, to find out, you know, if there'd been any damage and so on, and if the baby, Carolyn, was still there.
Yes. So we share an experience of living through a war with bombs dropping around us, which few people in Bhutan have experienced. And in fact, given our ages, we're not so far apart, few people alive today have experienced.
It's very true.
And so from Birmingham?
Well, it was very hard during that time because, as you know, everything was rationed.
Rationed, that's right.
And I remember at the end of the war, we tasted our first banana. And by then I was 5, and my brother was 6 and my sister 7.
And
can you imagine?
When I had my first banana, I was 9.5.
There you are.
It was a memorable moment.
There you are, yes. Because everything was rationed.
Right, that's right.
And my mother had to have tokens to buy us clothes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, end of the war, my father came back. Fortunately, he had a terrible time at the end, having left the Middle East. The regiment went to Germany, and they were dealing with displaced persons and prisoners of war camp, which was so horrible that he never talked about it.
Right.
Then he said, when he came back, let's go to Wales, let's leave Birmingham and go to the country. And that's what we did. And we moved to Wales in 1945.
Right.
And we lived in a very, very remote valley. Nobody had a wireless. Our nearest neighbour was 2 miles away. Can you imagine that? 4 kilometres. Yes. And he worked for the Forestry Commission as well as running a small farm.
And what was the name of the village?
Well, the first one was Bronwian, but the last one was MOICE, which means Field of the Red Alders, MOICE.
Right.
And the nearest village was Perthok, and the nearest town was Machynlleth.
I've been to Machynlleth.
Have you really?
Because one of the things about Wales is that the names of places are completely unpronounceable from looking at the spelling. And if I quickly mention, Wales is the place where a railway station has the longest name of any railway station in the whole of the United Kingdom. Can you tell us?
Are you going to ask me to say it?
What it is. So can you imagine any of you who are thinking of going to the United Kingdom for on holiday, go to the railway station and ask for 2 tickets to... I think I got it right. And it makes Lanka seem very easy, doesn't it? Karen, so Wales, yes. What was life like in Wales then?
Well, when we first moved there, we had obviously no electricity. And my mother was a city girl. Can you imagine coming from Birmingham?
Yeah.
And she had to do all the cooking on an oil stove. We had wood fires. No tapped water. No electricity. We used the old chili lamp, which we blew up. You pump up.
Yes.
And run with kerosene, which we called in those paraffin.
Paraffin, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but it was the most incredible, wonderful life. And my sister and brother, our playground was forests.
That's right.
And heather-covered mountains and lakes. I mean, Wales is a very, very beautiful country.
Beautiful, yes.
Our nearest neighbour was 2 miles away. My mother was a city girl. She was terrified of animals. And when my father developed appendicitis and it burst, she had to milk our cows, and she was absolutely terrified. But she learned.
Right.
So we had sheep, cows, guinea fowls, geese, chickens. It was a wonderful, wonderful life, and horses. It was too far for me to walk to the village school at Egliswach. Egliswach means small church.
Right.
And believe it or not, who was the minister there but R.S. Thomas, the poet?
Oh, right.
Right.
Yes.
That's where his first...
Really?
Yes. And so I didn't go to school till I think I was 6.
Right.
And because we had to walk.
You walked
4 miles.
Yes.
4 miles, that's 8 kilometres, roughly.
Right.
And we learnt Welsh as our first language.
Can you still remember Welsh?
Oh, yes, Tymid Bach.
Very good.
Tymid Bach means a little bit.
Right. Yes.
A village school, and then eventually we went to the secondary school in Machynlleth.
Machynlleth, yes.
Yes. So it was a wonderful, wonderful life. Our playground were forests, mountains, covered with bilberries, these wonderful lakes everywhere with
Right.
sort of lovely stories about the lakes, Sir Arthur's sword and so on.
Yes.
Heather-covered mountains. It was a wonderful, wonderful childhood.
Wonderful. Great. And I would guess quite a good preparation for coming to Bhutan in those early years.
Yes, absolutely.
But before we get to Bhutan, you went to school in Machynlleth.
Yes.
One great challenge, of course, is to spell Machynlleth.
Oh, right.
But I won't ask you to do
Yes.
that, but you might like to look it up.
Machynlleth.
Yes, there's a challenge for you.
Machynlleth. It's very guttural.
Yes.
It's very like German.
And where does Welsh language come from?
The Welsh language?
Is Celtic or
Sorry?
the Welsh language? Its derivation is a Celtic language?
It's Celtic.
Yes.
It's Celtic, yes.
So, but from Wales, you then, if I recall, went to Liverpool University?
Yes. But before that, my holidays used to be on an island called Bardsey Island, which is in Welsh is called Ynysentli, which is off the northern peninsula of Wales.
Yes.
And it's supposed to have 20,000 saints buried under there. And a pilgrimage...
Sorry, can we just say that again?
20,000 saints buried there.
20,000 saints.
Buried there.
Yes.
Because one pilgrimage to Bardsey, in Welsh, Ynysentli,
Yes.
was equivalent... 3 to Bardsey was equivalent to 1 to Rome.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's still got the abbey ruins and so on. So it was a bird observatory there, and my
Yes.
brother and I were passionate about birds. So our holidays used to be on this island,
Right.
which was an amazing place to go to.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then on to Liverpool University, where you did a 3-year degree in physical
education. Yes, yes.
My goodness.
Merseyside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And from there, my first posting was in Pembroke Dock Grammar School.
Right.
And I did that for 2 years, but I was a restless person. A job came up on my favourite island as bird warden for the bird observatory.
On the island, you went on
Bardsey
holidays.
Island.
Right.
And I applied and I got it, and I was the first female warden of any bird observatory in the UK.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I was lucky because my brother was there farming and lobster fishing. I stayed there for a year. We had A-level students coming from different colleges
Yes.
and schools who came to study marine biology, ornithology and botany, and marine biology. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And because it had a lighthouse, it attracted thousands of birds during the migration period. So we were saving birds which hit the lighthouse. That's a long, long story.
Yes.
And then my assistant was due to go to Oxford the next year, to Corpus Christi, and unfortunately, I said, all right, I'll give up Bardsey. So I followed him to Oxford, got a job in a school in Oxford, Cheney School.
Right.
A lovely school up on the hill, Cheney, and taught there. And next part of my life started from there.
Well, now, isn't it funny? Because again, we share in common. I was at St Edward's School, Oxford.
St Edward's,
teaching.
Yes.
When I got the invitation to come to Bhutan.
How funny.
So we both
How
came
linked.
from Oxford to Bhutan.
Yes.
How strange. So, how did that happen? How did you come to Bhutan?
Well, from Oxford, by then my sister Rowena was also a teacher. She had the wanderlust like me in a way, and she applied, she saw it in the Times, teachers needed for remote Himalayan country, Bhutan.
Right.
And she applied, and she was shortlisted along with 200 applicants, I think. Went to London and slowly shortlisted to about 10, I think. But that's a long, long story. And then her royal grandmother, Ajit Kesang, was already in London, and she met my sister met Her Majesty, and she said she would love her to be the governess to the two youngest princesses,
Right.
Ajit Pempem and Ajit Kazom.
Right.
So Rowena was employed by
Who
Her
were at
Majesty.
school at...
No, they weren't.
They weren't.
No. Ajit Sonam and Ajit Dechun were at school in England.
Right.
The two youngest. And His Majesty Jigme was at school in England. But Pempem and Kazom were not. They were still in Bhutan.
They were still in Bhutan.
So
right.
my sister Rowena went out to Bhutan in 1965.
Right.
Came out to Bhutan.
As a governess for the two youngest
the
princesses.
two youngest princesses, yeah.
Right.
So then my sister kept saying, come out, they need teachers. I said, I'm so happy. I got a lovely job in Oxford.
Right.
You know. But eventually I was persuaded, and I came out here in 1966.
Right.
And that's another story to my life.
Yes. It's very interesting. We talk about AD and BC, or what is now called Common Era, or something. I think for some of us, there is a BB and AB before Bhutan and after Bhutan. And two very distinct chapters in life. So you came out to Bhutan. Tell us what you did and what life was like in 1966.
Yeah, that's a very long story, Michael. Very long story. I came in 66, and I was basically, I call myself a country bumpkin, because, you know, I'd been brought up in the countryside. I taught in Oxford, but otherwise I taught in West Wales. I'd lived on islands. My holidays had been in Lochgarten in Scotland, observing and protecting ospreys, building dikes in Minsmere in Suffolk. I mean, my whole life was out of towns, in the country. I was a country girl.
So I wouldn't call you a country bumpkin. I would call you somebody in tune with nature.
I think I was a country bumpkin, riding horses and so on. Anyway, I came out in 66. No, I then was asked to actually meet His Majesty, our fourth king, Jigme, and Ajit and Ajit Dechun. They were at school in Heathfield, and Jigme was at a prep school. And I met them in London at Edward St George's Place in Eaton Square.
Yes.
Spent the night there, and we all flew out together.
Out to Bhutan?
Out to Bhutan. And my very clear memory was His Majesty, little, as I called him, little Jigme, who was 11 then, I think, clutching a bag of silkworms. He was going to bring silkworms back to Bhutan.
Right.
Live, of course.
And
Nothing else, just the silkworms.
Right.
And we got on the plane, and there was me just looking after, the three of them. But I wasn't worried. I was,
Yes.
I didn't think anything could happen. And the plane was kept on the runway for some time. And then they came up to me and they said, "We're waiting for a parcel for his crown prince."
Right.
So the whole plane was kept waiting while a beautiful handmade shotgun was brought on for
A
His
Holland
Majesty.
and Holland
Yes,
gun.
beautiful.
Yes.
And they came on, they handed it to me, and then, it was... So that's why the plane was delayed. I don't know if His Majesty remembers that, but it was very clear in my mind. We stopped.
And that gun is still, I'm told,
Yes.
here.
And then when we got to Calcutta, and that's quite something, we stayed there for 2 weeks at Baligan, Tivoli Court.
Yeah.
And because Her Majesty came to meet us. And so you can imagine me, straight from the country.
Yes.
But Her Majesty and Rani Chuni, Her Majesty's
Right.
mother, it was so wonderful. So I stayed with them. I was so honoured. I stayed with them in Baliganj. We all stayed.
Right.
And every day, His Majesty and the girls, Aji Sonam and Aji Dechen, we went to Tivoli, to the swimming pool club. I can't remember. Was it
Right, the
Baliganj?
Royal Calcutta Swimming Club.
I can't remember what it
Yes,
was called.
indeed.
And we swam, and His Majesty took me, learnt to dive, and it was a wonderful time. We just spent the whole of those 2 weeks going around Calcutta, the bird market. We went to Government House because the governor was a great friend of Her Majesty's. Yeah, it was a wonderful
And
time.
Calcutta in those days was an exotic place.
It was
wasn't
wonderful, Michael. It's so different today.
Yes.
So different today. But time was short, and after 2 weeks,
How did you get up to Bhutan?
We flew to Bagdogra,
Right.
but I'd been to the bird market with His Majesty,
Right.
and they were saying Dashu Jikmi, and Sonam came with us. I remember it so clearly. Horrific. There were about sort of 200 birds in one cage.
Yeah.
You can't imagine.
Yeah.
It just was so cruel. But we bought so many things to bring back to Bhutan. His different birds, different animals. So when we got on the plane, we had all these cages.
And what was Indian Airlines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
To Bagdogra.
to Bagdogra, and Her Majesty, Royal Grandmother, said, "Now, do you want to come with us in the helicopter to Phuntsholing, or would you like to go by road?" I said, "By road," because I'm a bird watcher.
How very sensible
Yes.
of you.
So I went through, Assam,
Yes.
and they flew. Who was first to meet me at Phuntsholing? I remember it so clearly. It was His Majesty coming out. Carolyn, you have to come and see the geckos. Because in the guest house,
Yes,
he
there were
knew
lots, yes.
I would have never seen a gecko.
Right.
And there were geckos all
All over
over
the windows, yes.
Yes. Yeah, it was wonderful. So we stayed there. Of course, I had to have an inner line permit.
Indeed. And do people today, I wonder, know about inner line permits?
I don't know, but I didn't have it when we got to the gate, and the bodyguards
Yes.
and people with me, and I didn't have the inner line permit. But anyway, somebody went up to.
Can I just quickly mention that
Yes.
the inner line permit was a permit that you needed from the Indian government to entitle you to come into the border areas in northern India. It was invented not by the Indian government, it was invented by the British when they were in India to protect the northern border of India against places like Russia. And to get an inner line permit, you had to apply to the Indian government. And without it, you couldn't get into Bhutan because there were no aeroplanes. So the Indian inner line permit was a way of controlling all entry into Bhutan. And it was quite difficult to get an inner line permit.
Anyway, they came rushing down from the guest house.
Have you got your inner line permit?
No, I didn't bring one. I do have one. I do.
Well,
have
never
one.
mind.
Yes.
If we can find one, we'll show it at the end.
I do have one. In fact, I got my sister's.
Yeah,
I've got it. My sister's. Do you want it now?
Yes, yes. If you've got it there.
Yes, I have. My sister came as a guest a few years afterwards. Here we are.
That's it. Yes. Now
Here
this.
My sister was called Rowena Pratt,
That's right.
and here she is.
Careful with it.
Sorry, should have.
It's come in two pieces.
Yeah.
But this
Very precious, original one.
this piece of paper, and I don't know whether the camera can see it, this piece of paper was the key to entry to Bhutan. Without this piece of paper, nobody could enter Bhutan in those days.
A foreigner.
No, foreigner, yes. So this really was a historic document. But I repeat, it wasn't the invention of the Indian government of the day. It was invented by the British to guard the northern borders of India from foreigners. So the Indian Inner Line Permit was the key to entry to Bhutan.
Absolutely, Michael, yes, absolutely.
Even for royal guests.
Yes, yes, yes. Anyway.
Sorry, yes,
no,
let's leave that there.
Yeah.
So, you decided to come up to Phunts Soling by road,
By
very,
road.
very sensible decision.
Yes.
And then what?
Well, then we stayed in the guest house, which was quite emotional time because Her Majesty had lost her brother there.
The late Prime Minister.
Yes, the late Prime Minister. And this was the first time she had stayed there with the family.
Right.
But we stayed there for two days, I think. The second day we went up to Don Bosco School where His Majesty, then the Crown Prince, was the guest, and they performed various
And I should
things.
add, the Don Bosco School is now the College of Science and Technology in Phunts Soling.
Yes.
It's still there,
Yes.
but it was founded by the Don Bosco
Yes.
fathers.
Yes, yes. And then the next day I was given the choice, would you like to come with us, Her Majesty, Royal Grandmother, would you like to come with us by helicopter, or would you like to go by road?
And what did you choose?
Of course, the road.
Very sensible.
Which took, I think it took us 11 hours.
Yes.
So they all flew up, and with all the animals that we got from Calcutta.
Right.
And then I went by road with various servants, and Her Majesty had a very old, well, it wasn't old in those days, long wheel-based Land Rover. But can you imagine, in 1966, the road was not finished.
That's right. It was
They were
still in the
blasting,
process of building.
Blasting everywhere, and we had to stop all the way up, wait for the blast to
And
take.
then the rocks falling down.
falling
Yes.
down, and this was in August.
Yes.
So heavy rains. But we finally made it. But you can imagine me, seeing all these incredible birds and this wonderful...
You were in your element.
Absolutely. And we eventually arrived in Paro when it was dark, and my sister had in Ugampelri Palace, there were 4 little cottages.
Yes.
in the
in
ground.
the corners, yes.
And my sister had one of those because she was the governess to Ashpempem and Ashkezom.
Right.
And I was going to stay with her. So you can imagine, the shrieks of excitement when I finally got there.
Right.
Her Majesty wouldn't let me go to Thimphu for at least, I think, 3 weeks. I stayed in Paro there because we had picnics every day.
Lovely.
And go out fishing, swimming, the girls. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. Eventually, of course, I had to go to Thimphu because my job was at Thimphu Public School, which is now Yanchenfu.
Right. It was originally called Thimphu Public School.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know when it was founded
Yes,
as Thimphu
the
Public
year
School?
before I came out.
Which was
1965.
1965.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So every day was just unbelievable.
Can I just swap back? Who was the headmaster? Was it Tyson?
No, he came later.
He came
It was
later.
an Indian gentleman.
Right.
We had
right,
two.
Right.
I can't
And the
even remember.
medium of instruction then,
English.
well, it had changed already to English,
Yes.
had it? Yes.
Yes,
Right.
English. So yes, we went out every day. And it was, and you can imagine me, a country bumpkin, a country girl. It was just.
But as I say, as a country girl, you were totally in your element in Paro in those days.
I was very lucky because the girls, Ajisona Majdechum, they took me to the National Assembly,
Right.
which was then in
Then
those
in
days
Paro.
in Paro.
That's right.
And my first impression was seeing all the patangs outside, all the swords hanging,
Yeah.
because they were not allowed to take them in.
Right.
And our third king there.
Presiding,
It was so
that's
wonderful. And we were allowed to go up onto the balcony and observe the proceedings. Yeah, that was something special,
Yes,
very special,
yes.
very historic. And
So
then,
it is important, isn't it, to
Very.
remind everybody that the National Assembly was started by the third king.
oh yes,
And you could see that as the very first step
Yes.
towards what eventually has become democracy.
Democracy.
Goes back a long time.
Yes.
Not a sudden decision,
Yes, yes.
but a long,
yes,
careful plan.
yes.
Uh,
A very long, careful
Yes.
plan. You're so right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very honoured that I was able to witness that as a foreigner.
Yes.
Yes.
So then, what happened
Well,
after that?
none of us wanted to leave Paro,
Right.
but the school was waiting, and
And this was Thimphu Public School,
yes,
Yang Thimphu
and,
High School. Yes.
I was supposed to start, but you can imagine these wonderful picnics and up
Yes,
through
yes,
the forest and getting used to the climate and the altitude.
Of course, yes,
I had a little
yes,
altitude
yes.
sickness. Then came to Thimphu and started my teaching experience at Thimphu Public School.
And so what were you teaching there?
Well, basically English, but
Right.
lots of other things.
Right.
When I first came, it was to do with health and cleanliness, because a lot of the children
It
had
looks like COVID days. Sorry, go on.
a lot of the children had skin
Skin problems,
diseases,
that's right.
eczema, and
Yes.
I was dealing with boils and you name it. But
So what were the main health problems of children in those days?
body lice,
Right.
fleas and body lice,
Right.
eczema. Yes, basically those.
Diarrhea.
Yes, and diarrhea. The food at the school at that time was not very good. Of course, it improved, and cleanliness improved. I spent my first few weeks, they taught me how to do it. We get the shinsim, those leaves,
Yes.
and rub it onto the wooden floors.
Right.
And
to
then
clean
we
them all.
polish and
Yes.
drag children on sacks so it shine.
Right.
You know. We basically spent the first few weeks cleaning and clearing and getting it sort of organised. Wonderful time. Yes, those days were wonderful.
Dare I quote a British official visitor here in the late 1800s, and I don't wish to offend anybody at all, it was a long time ago, but he did write in his official report to the British government about Bhutan, he wrote, "The habits of all people are exceeding filthy, and it would be a brave man who would willingly interpose one of these natives between the wind and his nobility." So Bhutan was not the cleanest and most hygienic of places in the 60s.
Well, we had no taps inside, and electricity came on, was only from Kasadakchu.
Right.
You know, a small plant.
Yeah. It's still there, the old building.
And it only came on, I think, about 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And we had to be careful because the children were boarding. It was a boarding school. Candles were dangerous.
Indeed, yes.
But anyway, we managed, and we cleaned up the floors, and we got routine of going down to the river and washing clothes, and it's a whole different life, to what they have now.
Yes.
You know, with their mobiles
and running water and toilets. Yes. And then from YHS, though, you started another school.
Well, from YHS, my boss at that time, when I think, how many years was it, YHS? 6 years or 7? I can't remember. And my boss was Her Highness Aji Dechen Wangchuk.
Right. She was in charge of education.
Of education, yes. And she said, "Carolyn, Lungtenzampa Guest House, our Indian ladies have been running an informal playgroup there every morning. Let's make it into a permanent school. Would you like to run it?" And I said, yes.
Right.
So that's how Lungtenzampa started.
Right.
It was not private, but I ran it for the government. And we started off with 45 children in 1972, and it expanded up to what we call in those days junior high school.
Right.
And the pressure for admissions was pretty tough. And there's one story where I remember a dasher, very high up dasher, came and said there was long lines for admission. This was after a few. And he said, he gave me the application forms and I looked. So one son, and then I looked at the other one and I said, you know, they can't possibly be brothers because there's only 3 months difference. Dasho, no, I have 2 wives.
Which was not uncommon in those days.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So both were admitted, of course.
Yes.
So Lungtenzampa, wonderful. We, it was really a very happy time in my life. And by then, of course, I'd got 3 children of my own, 3 daughters. And they all joined Lungtenzampa. And we did a lot of trekking. We went to Fajidin, we camped at Fajidin. We went to Taksang twice. And there you walked.
That's
from
right,
where
all
your
the
school
way.
was.
That's right,
Yeah.
indeed. I remember that very well.
Now,
yes.
of course, you can drive halfway up, you know, which is sad. And it was a wonderful time.
It was on that walk before you got to the climb bit that I saw my first bear.
There you are.
Now you just drive.
You just drive up. So we went to Tangu, we went to Cherry, Punika, all over, because it was so exciting for these children.
Yes.
You know, and we had a bus, BTTS bus, which was Lungtenzampa bus, the first bus. It was wonderful. It's a wonderful time. I loved being at Lungtenzampa.
Right, and you were at Lungtenzampa for what, how many years? 6 years?
Oh gosh, from 72 to 84.
To 8, oh right, so a long time. And then what happened?
Well then, Bhutan wanted to join the Olympics in Los Angeles, I think it was Los Angeles, as an archery team. So by then my ex-husband was commanded by His Majesty to open a consulate in Kuwait.
Right.
So I was then in 83 still training for the Olympic team.
Because you had done a degree in Liverpool in physical education.
Well yes, but that hadn't included
right.
archery, but I loved archery.
Yes.
It just came naturally. And I knew I made the score. Anyway, so I stayed for that year with my daughters. My eldest daughter went out with my ex-husband. They opened the consulate in Kuwait. And then in 84, because we wanted to send Bhutanese to Los Angeles for the... So I was not selected.
Right.
Which in a way...
Oh, because you weren't...
I wasn't, although I was Bhutanese,
but not...
yeah.
You didn't look Bhutanese.
No, that's right. So I didn't go to Los Angeles. Instead, we packed up everything and we went to Kuwait.
Right.
And there I learnt a lot about diplomatic life.
Right,
which is
indeed.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Met some wonderful people over the years. And I was very lucky. I immediately got a job in a very large English medium school called New English School. Not a very imaginative name in Kuwait. Of 2,000 strong students.
Gosh,
of
big.
45 nationalities.
Good Lord.
And from class 12 for the
Now just remind us, what year is this now?
84.
84, right.
1984. And my three girls came out, of course, we all went as a family.
Right.
And they joined this English medium, huge school, which eventually led them to university and so on. That is another long story.
You were in Kuwait at a rather interesting time. Can you tell us quickly about it?
1990. Get my dates right. 1990, my girls were at school in Stowe, in Buckingham, England. And I was in Kuwait. Summer holidays, it gets over 40 degrees. You can't, so we closed the schools.
Right.
Incredibly hot. But I wanted to come back to Bhutan for something. I can't remember what it was. The school closed, I flew to Bhutan, flew back to Kuwait on my way to England. I left 3 very valuable things in Kuwait. A piece of jewellery from a member of the royal family in Bhutan, which is very precious. Very beautiful binoculars. What was the third thing? I can't remember.
Right.
But anyway, I left them in Kuwait, flew on to England, stayed in Oxford where my 2 daughters were.
Right.
One of them rushed into my bedroom on the 1st of August. Mummy, Kuwait's been invaded. I had Kuwaiti money with me, and I knew exactly what would happen. We rushed to the nearest bank in Oxford.
Changed it.
Changed it.
Right.
They didn't realise. It was early morning.
Right.
By afternoon, everybody knew Kuwait had been invaded.
The money was worthless.
Gone.
Yes. Very good.
It wasn't much money, but it was all the money
still,
I had.
Yes.
So then I joined, in that year, we weren't allowed back, of course, because Kuwait was invaded. So then I joined a movement in London, in Portchester Terrace, called Free Kuwait.
Right.
So all Kuwaitis ran it, and basically it was to promote interest and help. So a huge thing, Free Kuwait. So I stayed in London, and I was very lucky. one of the Amir's first cousins, Sheikh Amir.
Yeah.
She lived in a very expensive part of London, Tite Street.
Oh,
and
yes.
she said, stay up in
Yes.
one of my apartments. So I stayed with the Sheikh.
That's where Oscar Wilde lived.
Yes, it's frightfully expensive.
Right.
So I stayed there so that I could travel to our headquarters in Portchester Street
Right.
every day. And we worked there. We did marches, free Kuwait
So
marches.
you worked with the Free Kuwait movement in London?
Yes, voluntary.
Right.
Voluntary.
Yeah.
Then we weren't allowed back to Kuwait until August the following year. And I remember it so well. I was allowed in, circling over through all the oil well was still
Fires.
burning.
That's right,
So
yes.
all the
Yes.
smoke coming up from all over, and eventually managing to land. And our school had been totally ransacked as the Iraqis escaped.
They took everything.
They took
Yes.
everything, and what they didn't take, they smashed. So, rows of sort of 20 wash basins in our bathrooms, every single one smashed. All books, everything. And what they'd done, of course, was set the oil wells on fire.
That's right.
And when they set them on fire, they also had rain, which was extraordinary. So the rain and the wet oil covered
Everything, yes. There are iconic photos from those days
Absolutely.
of the oil wells on
Absolutely.
fire.
Well, my flat, eventually I was allowed to go in, but we had to make sure there was no booby traps. And my flat was just black because they'd sent a grenade through one of my windows.
Right.
It wasn't my flat, I rented it.
Yeah.
And so there was a huge hole, so all the wet oil had come through. So there was very little I could save.
Yes.
And there was no electricity. So I took a friend with me, and we were searching to see what I could save. Books, jewellery, photographs, nothing.
All gone.
Practically all. Practically. Some photographs that I kept, but yeah. But things.
And so how long did you stay in Kuwait?
And then after that, we built up the school again from nothing. And I was promoted and promoted and promoted. And although I had been asked by a member of the royal family in 1990, pre-invasion, would you come back to teach a group of our children? And I said I was going to, but then Saddam Hussein interrupted. I couldn't go back, couldn't come back to Bhutan with no money, nothing. I lost everything. I lost clothes, jewellery, car, everything. Job. So I stayed on, and then I got promoted and eventually became a head, and stayed there till 1990.
Right, in Kuwait.
In Kuwait, yes.
Right.
Wonderful
So
experience.
you have not only contributed to the growth of education in Bhutan, but also the recovery of education in Kuwait
yes.
after the invasion.
Yeah, that's true, yes.
Which is very strange.
Yeah.
And dare I say, this is another commonality, because I was involved in Oman
There you are.
in the development of technical training
There you are, yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So we share Middle East
There
and
we are.
Bhutan.
How strange, isn't
Very
it?
odd.
Yeah.
And Oxford.
And Oxford,
Yes.
yes,
There's a-
which I love. I love
yes,
Oxford.
yes. So you stayed in Kuwait for some
Yes,
time. You contributed to the re-establishment of education in Kuwait, and then when did you come back to Bhutan? again?
And I just forgot that when I first went to Kuwait, to the school, which was a very unimaginative name, New English School. I know, can you imagine?
Well, translate it into Welsh.
No, I can't now.
Right.
No, I can't off the top of my head.
Yeah, no.
And who was one of our students who I didn't teach because I was
Yes.
in the primary, was Queen Rania of Jordan.
Oh, right,
She's one of our
yes,
students.
yes.
Because her father was a doctor in
That's
Kuwait.
right. Yes,
And they were a
absolutely.
Palestinian family.
Yeah.
So before the invasion, our country, Kuwait was had thousands and thousands of Palestinians.
Right.
But because they sided with Saddam Hussein during the war, the invasion, then after the invasion of Kuwait, there were no Palestinians left in Kuwait.
Right, right.
So yes, then back to Bhutan. Very restless person, could never sit back. By then I was in my 60s.
Right.
Looking for a building to start a school.
Another school.
Another school. And this time I was fortunate to know Amladen,
Right.
late Tasha Rimp's wife. And she had a very nice building with nice grounds. So, and she was quite keen to expand it. And she said, let's start the school there. So that's how Druk School started.
So you were involved in the starting of Druk School?
Yeah.
Right.
And I said I'd do it for a year.
Right.
But I stayed for 3 years.
3 years at Druk School, yes.
We set it up, established it.
Right.
And then said, enough is enough.
Right. And you were mid-60s by now?
Yes, mid-60s, yes.
Right.
And then I think what came next, was it, I think then it was Thimphu. Then His Majesty, who was then Tongsa Penlop,
That's right,
said,
yes.
would you help to set up a program for our monks in Thimphu.
Good, yes.
To basically teach them English, which I did. And of course, His Majesty, who was then Crown Prince, and then he became Tongsa Penlop, he was one of the teachers with me.
Right.
And he had the older children, the oldest lamas, monks. And they would, I think he had about 15 in his class. And they were 14, 15, 16 years old. I had all the little ones who were 5 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And 6 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, it was amazing. We started off, I think, with about 200 and something monks. But because everybody knew that the Crown Prince, Tongsa Penlop, was one of the teachers, admissions became impossible. And I think it reached to 500. It was incredible. It's just too crowded. And then Tasha Zimpen was our present Tasha Zimpen, His Majesty Gelpa Zimpen.
Yes.
Took one class. I took one. And His Majesty took the bigger ones. And then eventually we got more and more foreigners to come and help.
Right.
So in the end, the height of the program, we'd had about 60 Bhutanese and foreign voluntary teachers.
Yeah,
it was wonderful, really wonderful. And Her Majesty Queen Mother Ajit Sering got so involved with the grounds and clearing it. Of course, His Majesty did. There was a wonderful time.
Right.
But His Majesty then became Tongsa Penlop. Then he became, too much work. He had to give up. And then I think then TPS came up.
Thimphu Primary School.
Thimphu Primary School. And an old friend of my daughters and myself was Vivi.
Vivi, yes.
And she said, Carolyn, I have nice buildings. I think it would make a nice school. Would you like to run it? Do you think it would make a nice school? I said, yes, it would, but I can't run it. But anyway, she persuaded me. So she said, my family house will make that into part of the school later. And so I helped to found TPS.
So you found it. So this is so interesting, isn't it? So you are a founder of schools. I'm trying to think of some neat title for that. But, I mean, if we look at all the schools where you have been involved in the founding, the starting, the origin of the schools, you are following from your country background.
Yes.
You are a planter of seeds in the ground, all of which have grown into wonderful great trees now. whether it be YHS, Yangchung Fu, Dechen Fodrang, Druk School,
Yes.
Thimphu Primary School. What a distinguished triumph to look back on.
Well, I've been lucky. I mean, I've been honoured. I mean, who else has that opportunity? And then I can't remember, was it 5 years? I said 1 year, but it ended up with 5 years. Wonderful time, lovely children. And then I did finally give up. I said to Vivi, look, I'm just too old.
Yes.
So I stepped back.
Yes.
But
if I could just mention Thimphu Primary School, we have you to thank that my youngest grandson, Junku,
there you are.
actually accustomed himself to going to school. And we were, at the time, immensely grateful to you, but also to the atmosphere, the warm, friendly, fun atmosphere that you had created at Thimphu Primary School.
Yes.
So I owe a personal thanks to you.
Well, I remember him so well. And always
now
with a big
here
smile.
we are sitting in the principal's office, your office, here at Thimphu, Sersang School. So many schools, I get mixed up.
I know.
And you're still, in many years later, still so very, very active.
Well, I have to say, God has been kind, really has been kind.
Right.
I think it's because of my childhood, because we walked to school, we lived on a farm. My holidays were always very active. You know, I've done everything from rock climbing, you name it, to skiing. So I think that's when you're young. And
Yes.
I don't know. I just say thank you every day to God.
Well, that is a wonderful story, Carolyn.
But
thank you so very much.
No, my pleasure. And I missed a lot out. You know.
Probably just as well.
I think so. I missed probably the highlight was in 2016 when for National Day.
When you were given the...
Yes, His Majesty our fifth King.
Yes.
King Jigme Gesser.
And I believe there's a photo, if you would like to show us.
Yes.
Can the camera see when you were presented with the Order of Merit Gold by His Majesty?
Yes, for education.
Where? Here in Thimphu?
That was in Tongsa.
In Tongsa?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, the most wonderful place.
And showing that photograph, are there any other things you've missed out?
Well, many, but I've talked too long.
So,
but I'm still here at Sersang.
Yes,
and now this is
very active.
Our 13th year.
It's a great pleasure to... I've known of you for so many, many, many years, and it's a great pleasure to listen to your story and to talk about what you have given to Bhutan in the field of education from the very beginning until today. And just above me here, if the camera can see it, we've seen this photo of your Order of Merit Gold, and just above me here, to bring it to an end, can I show the photograph of young Carolyn Tshering?
Oh, there, yeah.
And so I'm not sure when that was, with Her Majesty Eshikizang.
That was in my time at Lungtenzampa.
Lungtenzampa School.
So it'd be in the 70s.
Right.
Yes.
So there we are.
Yeah. Yes. And there's her.
Time shall not weary you, nor the years come down.
This was Sersang School. That's.
So this was.
That's Sersang with Her Majesty, my grandmother.
Yes. So, Carolyn, you've been a teacher for many decades. What's it like?
An honour. That's what I consider it. It has been an honour. You know, when you teach the grandchildren of your former students,
Right.
you have to shake your head, you know, and think, this is quite amazing.
Yes.
And yes, I always consider it an honour, but one has to be careful looking at the practical side of it. You can't say to that child, now, your grandmother didn't behave like that. No, joking aside, it is very, very satisfying and more than ever an honour and enjoyable.
Enjoyable indeed.
I think if you don't enjoy your teaching, and I think number one, you have to have a sense of humour.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a sense of humour and you don't enjoy it and you don't know your children, you shouldn't be there.
Right.
And I've always felt that, you know, I've always seen the funny side of many situations or any situation. And I think that's helped you through hard times, because you do have hard times.
Yes.
You know?
And I mean, you mentioned sense of humour. Often where you have a behaviour problem with a kid, rather than shouting or reprimanding, the best approach is a joke.
A joke.
A laugh.
Yes.
A bit of humour.
Yes.
And the other aspect too, of course, teaching is incredibly important.
Yes. Very important. And my aim, if you like, I never think of it as an aim, it's just there within you, I think, if you're a teacher, is to ensure that you are teaching your children to be good human beings.
Right.
Not top of the class.
Indeed.
Not those who get scholarships, you know, or those, just to be a good human being.
Right.
To be compassionate, empathetic, kind, and to have a love for their country, a love for their king, and respect for themselves, and respect for their family, for their parents, respect for their country, and as I say, for their king.
Indeed.
And our children here in Bhutan are so lucky. I mean, what country, can you name a country where there are no riots, no protests on the street? Yes, we do have crime, but minimal.
Indeed.
You know?
Compared with the outside world, life in Bhutan is very peaceful.
Yes. So if we as teachers can guide our children, I don't say teach, I never say that, guide our children into being wonderful human beings who love their country, love their family, love their king, royal family, just love Bhutan. I think we've succeeded.
Indeed. So we're most grateful to Madam Carolyn Tshering for her story, starting in Birmingham, then to a little village in Wales, living through the war, and then all her involvement with education, not only in Bhutan, but also in Kuwait, and a genuine builder of Bhutan. Thank you, Carolyn, very much indeed.
Thank you, Michael. My pleasure.